Let me go to Martin Breckbill, MMR, who is going to start building an old kit, a LaBelle Sacramento North trolley car. Martin, welcome.
Thanks, Jim. We'll see if we can get this started here without making a mess of it. Where is this sharing button? Ah, there it is. Right where I left it last time. How's that look so far? Come on.
Really good.
There we go. How's that? Okay. So, well, since Jim's read the title, I won't read it to you. But this is part one of many, and I have no idea how many might be because I'm about a week ahead of you as of right now. Well, maybe 2 weeks. And as you'll see, there's good reason for that. Okay, so this is what this kit is. Well, that's what it says on the outside of the box. And it says body kit only. And that's kind of important to note immediately. That's what's in it. This does not provide anything other than the body. So you're getting this is a box of wood that builds the body shell. Everything else, you're on your own. Your exterior, interior details, anything you dream of that you'd want to put into this, that's up to you. And trucks and drive, well, there's a challenge for the modern trolley modeler. So, but you got a box of wood, and a box of wood lets you do anything if you're careful. Oh, by the way, this is to note the address on there. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming. This is a recent production kit. This kit's been in production for decades and decades and decades. And you can tell how old it is by the address on there. So Cheyenne, Wyoming is actually, within recent memory. There are other addresses. I have a second one of these, and it's not this address, but it's basically the same kit, except a little different on the inside with the instructions. Okay, so open it up and take a look. Well, these are the easy parts to identify. You've got two side blanks. These are, let's see, I had a cursor, there it is. You have two sides. Interesting, one has actually got the kit number on it, 261. These two end pieces, they're not attached to anything. They're just laid out where they'll probably go, give or take a bit. A piece of wood for a floor. Boy, this is exciting. And here's what the roof looks like from the inside. And it's 261 or 262. This builds, the same roof is used for the combine. And you'll see why that becomes interesting later. Okay, and you'll see the ends are rounded. Well, that's nice because then you don't have to do that part of the rounding. That can be really annoying to do. And you look at the rest of the roof. Well, it's not rounded in this dimension. So think about that in the future. We're going to have to come back and curl the ends down, fill the little bit of where you're going to take this piece off when you take the curve. It's going to be lots of fun. I'll probably use my belt sander. I don't recommend that for anybody else unless you're really you're a really good friend with your belt sander. These clustery sections actually fit up inside here, so they have to be fitted in there. I don't remember what these blue parts are, but they had something to do with the roof, and it said both ends blue. I think, okay, whatever they are, set them aside. There's another part about LaBelle kits. The parts are color coded. One end or both ends will be a color. They may or may not be the same color at both ends. You have to sort these all out, figure out who's what, where, set them aside, hopefully use the right one at the right time in the right place. Not too terribly bad if you get it wrong. You can always pry it off and do something with it later. Yeah, don't panic yet. It's because this kit, being one of the modern ones, comes with a roof rounding kit inside. I've never used one of these. I have no idea what it's like. It seems pretty obvious what it will do. So we'll have fun with that. This end pack, this is all the doors. Well, they're not just the doors for the ends, they're actually the doors for the sides too. And being 261, that's the coach. This is all milled out and shaped bits of wood, which you're going to have to chop up a lot finer, and I'll show you where they go tonight. But they're generally the the posts that go in between the windows. So there's actually, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them there. And you don't need this outside piece. That's kind of important to know. So you have to be really careful when you look at the instructions versus what's in your hand and say, oh, that's what this really means. There will be many moments of, oh, that's what this means throughout building this kit. Oh yeah, so the rest of the parts, you got a box of sticks. You know, we got all 2 different types of blue. We've got reds, browns, greens, blacks, all different colors. We've got some glazing material in here. We've got some wire. I don't know why. We'll figure that out later. I'm not too concerned about it. If this is like the normal LaBelle kit, there'll be parts in it that I never use. And I'll wonder why the heck they were there in the box to begin with. And they'll never even be referenced in the instructions. So, you know, you have to not worry about that. If you come up with extra parts at the end, it's not your fault. It happens. So, hey, there's, you know, that's what you're building, the top one, this coach. So this is important. It's nice to know what your endpoint is, what it looks like, because otherwise you look at some of the parts and you hold them up and you say, where does this go? How does this possibly fit here? And it doesn't look like the one in the picture. That's because the one in the picture is the right one. The one you're holding in your hand has to be modified in some way. You can download the instructions off the LaBelle website. This is kind of handy. It comes as a PDF. You can convert that, print that, chop it up, convert it to pictures. It's very useful. And you have to remember, interestingly enough, the instructions are for both cars. So you have to kind of dissect the instructions every now and then. Oh yeah, I'm not building the combine. I don't need to look for that part. It's not in the box. So instead of driving yourself crazy looking for parts in the instructions that are not for the car that you're building, that aren't there, you have to not panic. This is something that was not, I think, in the original old instruction, an isometric drawing. This is actually kind of useful. Parts are numbered. You can actually figure out, oh, that's what he's talking about in the instructions. That goes there. You can see these window pieces. Now, you have to remember the milled out piece actually has 4 of these. So you're going to have to cut those apart. You can see there's a notch at the top, and it actually fits and wraps around this recess on the sides. So they actually snap into place. Snap is probably too nice a word, but they will fit with persuasion. In some cases, persuasion involves sanding. Sometimes it involves a sharp object like a scalpel, but it will go in. Here's another thing, remove, because that door, for some reason, is supplied with a divider in it. Go back, it's not there. So you take the ones out of the door and the end packs, and they don't look like anything in the picture. Well, there's a reason for that. You need to take that piece out. We'll do that later. But you can see over here, in the same isometric, is the combine door. Don't look for the combine door. It's not there. Okay, so I took the instructions, downloaded the PDF, chopped them up, converted them to pictures, and just so I could put them into the slides and it would be helpful. You can actually see things a little better. Yeah. If it's your kit, you can make it as smart and as detailed as you want, which means if you want to mess it up, you're entitled to do that. If you want to convert it to something else, have fun with it. I look at wooden kits as just a box of raw materials. So if you really want to build the prototype, go for it. If you want to use it and turn it into a doodle bug, that's cool too. So here you have the subsides. There's a little bit of sanding. It might have rough edges. It doesn't. In my case, the newer versions of these kits are all laser cut. So you find some burnt spots or some little bit of fuzz, but nothing significant. So we're going to cement the window posts. Separate. That's fun. Because you got to you got to cut these very, very carefully, not have the wood wander around with your cutting implement, be it an X-Acto, a razor saw, or a scalpel. And they fit in here. Same thing on the ends. It's a different piece of milled wood, fits in the ends, and you have to cut this. You can cut these a little long. So there's your left piece. There's the right piece that goes to the other end of the car. It's pretty straightforward. So it's a raised shoulder. You have to wrap around it. You've got to get it fairly straight. As straight as possible. You center it between the two windows and say good enough. You can't do much better, actually. So there they are. These are let's see, it's brown on one end. So those are the window mullion posts. So you have to chop those two pieces up and they go in here. Let's see, can we go back? Yeah, so they go in here. We'll come back to those later though. They're actually on step 3. I wasn't planning on doing step 3, but we're going to. Or we're going to do half of step 3. So we'll do 3.5 or 2.5. So there's your parts. They come this way. So here's the first issue. Immediately we run into this when I took it out of the box. One side is cup warped. So which means that's high, and the middle's low. So it's curled. That's just dandy. That makes things really nice. Also, that side is a 32nd thicker than the other side. How that's even possible to do and put into a kit and sell it is beyond me, but it happens, and it did happen because I have the kit in front of you. I don't know if that 32nd thicker matters all that much. I don't know if anybody's actually going to notice it or it's going to upset the roof alignment. We'll find out later. The warp is more concerning. And the first thing I was thinking was, well, we'll glue all these pieces in here with the grain running the other direction, clamp them in, and it might straighten it out a bit. Well, yeah, who knows? So what are these other things? So this is your scribe siding. No, sorry. The red is the scribe siding. These are your pieces for your window posts. You can see there's a raised piece on the edge. This is not the raised shoulder in the instructions that they're talking about. The raised shoulder is this little thing right over here. You can just see it's a little bit of a high point, a little bit of a high point. These all get sliced and diced apart. Yeah, the pink is the raised shoulder, not this piece on the end. There you go. We're going to have fun with that. You know, cutting those apart is just a joy. So you want to get them perfectly straight. This little middle piece here is trash. The ends are outside edges are trash. I don't throw anything away anyhow. I put it in a paper cup. I'll come back to it later and throw it all away later when I don't need it anymore. When I'm 110% sure it's trash. Usually that becomes kindling in December. So glue all these parts in. There's your window mullions. There's the scribe siding. We'll do those parts. So glue those in. These are all glued in. They're all glued in. The warp didn't come out entirely. The mullion posts are glued in. The scribe siding, interestingly enough, is a good 1/16 of an inch too long, and there's not enough. This is a problem because this is a rather unique scribe siding. This is not something you hustle over to Northeastern Scale Lumber and buy a piece of 1/32, and it's because it's thinner than 1/32 scribe siding, and they don't have that spacing. And so you have to scramble about in your shop and find something that says, well, that looks sort of close. And we'll show you eventually what sort of close really means. I mean, after you put paint and weathering on it, it'll look like it's pretty close, and maybe it was something that got repaired after it got bumped into a post. Anyhow, still warped, and everything's been put in place and clamped and glued. Well, something close to done. Well, I'm still aggravated about the being shorted on the scribe siding. But that's a good example of what kills building a kit for a lot of people. You got a warped piece, you're short of some parts. This is a time for colorful language, thinking, reviewing instructions, and banging your head against the nearest brick. Somewhere I actually keep a lead brick in my office for just this purpose. It's convenient because it fits in the palm of your hand, but it still has all the weight that you need to really bang yourself in the head with. You have to really consider what these constructions are. You read them through 14 times. You look at the parts, you look at the isometric, and then you say, I think I might know what I'm just supposed to do with this piece. And you're probably right, because there's only so many ways you can put these things together. So what you've got in the box to work with will get you towards the end. And that's where I'm stopping this week. Sorry for all the excitement. That's it. We've got questions and screams of anguish. Now's the time for them. Boy, it's awfully quiet.
Martin, is this the situations that you're finding in this kit? Is this unusual for these old kits?
Well, this one's not that old.
Oh, okay.
It's the current owner, as opposed to the Wisconsin or Minnesota or whatever the other address was, where it was back in the 60s and 70s. This is a 20th century version of this kit. It's basically the same kit with the same pieces of wood in it. It's been upgraded a little bit. On some parts are laser cut and milled. I left out the fact that actually those center posts between the windows were also too long. They about half of them were way too long, so they all had to be trimmed down and sand the fit, snap into place with glue, put a clamp on it, and pray over it a lot. It's not that common, but it surprised me a little bit. It happens. I mean, these things do happen. I mean, for all I know, the warping was due to somebody keeping it in a damp basement for 10 years before I got it. Yeah. But only one side was warped, which I thought, oh, that's interesting. If they were both warped, I could accept that better. They're both in the box, nestled in there side by side or front to back, however it was.
But they were, you said they were different kinds of wood. That's probably why only one worked.
No, they're all basswood.
But they were different thicknesses from different.
Yeah, the thicker one. The thicker one.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what really. That's the real head scratcher.
Martin, did you try to call the manufacturer?
Nope.
Nope.
I'm not going to waste my time with it. We're just going to build the bloody thing the way it is, because half the time is, a lot of kits that manufacturer dried up and blew away 20 years ago, and you're stuck.
You said this fellow's still in business.
Oh yeah, he is. I'm just not going to bother him. I mean, I've called him in the past and left messages and gotten nowhere.
Oh.
I have bought parts from him in the distant past. I bought a carton of roof stock, because I hate making roof in trolley size, because it's the only source I know of that has that size of roof. It's not the same as a regular passenger car. It's narrower. And I thought, here's a golden opportunity while he's just getting set up. When he just got in the company, I called him and said, got any of this laying around? Why would you want that? I said, oh, because I'm willing to throw money at you. That's why. Oh, okay. He could appreciate the money part. And so I bought a box of them, and they're sitting here. A roof is is pain to build, particularly the nice hollow roof that you can actually put lighting into and put glazing into and put like stained glass or something into it if you chose to. I mean, I don't know any other place that you can get this type of roof. So that had value to me.
Martin, thank you very much. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Martin, did you have to go online and get the rest of the plans that you needed?
I didn't have to. There is a printed set in the box. But, if you want, it's kind of convenient to go get the PDF and print out. And yeah, there you go. You can go get it and download it. And, I ran it in through Photoshop, turned it into, and then ran it into Adobe Illustrator and chopped it up into individual pieces, mainly to make slides out of it. But it actually makes it kind of handy. You can make it a lot larger on your screen and really ponder it over a appropriate beverage, and think about just what the heck does that piece look like? Why is he telling me to do this? And you can look into the future like 5 pages later and say, oh, that's why.
Thank you, Martin.
Hey, Martin, just a comment. I was looking at this after doing that. The roof rounding kit is actually a $6 separate item.
Oh, well, somebody
bought it and put it in the box for you.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll have to open it and use it. I mean, that'll be an adventure because I've never used one. I just do it by eye and it's like, yeah, that's close. Good. Stop there.
I got one, Martin, if you need it.
No, what, an eye?
No, a whole new roof.
Oh, well. Well, if I mess one up, I think I have 6 of them in the storage tub behind me somewhere on the floor, but I haven't looked in there in about 10 years. So who knows what's in there now? There might be 25 of them in there. They breed in the dark when you're not watching.
Martin, thanks so very much. We really appreciate it.
Well, we'll see you next week, and hopefully I'll have some of this stuff solved or addressed or beaten into submission, whichever appeals to you, your base or not condition.
Thanks so much, Martin.